suddenly a new question arises. What if real estate investors don't come back to the real estate market at all? Hey, I know. What are you talking about? All right, let me explain. I recently saw an internal memo that talked about the fact that, and it's confidential, I'm not going to spill it, but talked about how many losses are these different people, small companies, holding companies, mom and pop investors, and all kinds of people in the GTA, Southern Ontario, Vancouver, particularly certain kinds of investors. What kind of losses are they experiencing? Because and what are these losses? Okay, so there's the people who have rental properties and they have mortgage renewals, and the renewals have all gone up substantially, continue to go up substantially. They have more than one rental property, and the dominoes keep falling, and there's more renewals. As there's more rental properties, it just keeps on coming. It will come again. It'll continue through next year and the following year. Even though rates come down, they still won't be the super duper unbelievable low rates of 2021 and 2022. They won't be. Okay. So even 2020. So they're all going up. And as one goes up and cash flow gets hammered on the rental property by the increase in the rates. By the way, there might also have been an increase in monthly maintenance fees from the condo corp. There might have been a property tax increase. But one thing's for sure, it just keeps on going up. And it's going up at a rate that can never be caught up with increasing rents, because there's actually some downward pressure on rents in Toronto and Vancouver right now. I know it sounds, we see the national averages and they keep going up. And yes, they are going up every place except Vancouver and Toronto. But I talk to people in that business every day, and they're telling me that no. In a lot of locations in the GTA, Southern Ontario, Vancouver, some of these rents are not going up at all. Some of them are coming down. So increase in cost of keeping the property and decrease in the possibility of getting more money out of the property equals harm. But wait, there's more. So we've got every new construction unit that comes out right now, every new condo, virtually every new, it's getting bad with single family and townhouses and semis right now too. When they hit completion, many of them are worth less. In Ontario, they're worth less than they were when you bought them 18 months ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. On the low-rise stuff, it's worth less. That's turning into a loss for some investors because, good God, I mean, it's automatically worth less than I paid for it, and now I got to find a mortgage, and yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So how touched up are investors getting? And then, by the way, investors talk to each other. They have Facebook groups, they have clubs, they have all kinds of organizations that they belong to. They get newsletters, they stay tuned to social media. People who buy investment real estate try to keep on top of what's going on. And all the news is bad. So what's that mean? It means that it's going to be a real race next year between investor lack of interest, a declining economy, and falling interest rates as to whether the real estate market recovers. Because I'm telling you, it's a race. It's a race between some of these disasters that are going on and falling mortgage rates, because they will drop all the way through next year into the summer. So this is the facts in Southern Ontario and a lot of places in British Columbia. Investors drive the real estate market. Like, I'm not kidding. 80% of all of the buildings in the GTA that are closing in the future or the next 2 years, all of these homes are not single-family homes. 80% of them are some kind of condo. So if that's true, and those are 70 to 90% investor driven, because that's who bought them. That's reality. That's accepted fact. That's who bought, particularly the tiny condos. That was all investor. So if those people are already experiencing anxiety, are experiencing capital losses, the chances of them buying anything new, and by the way, again, come back to this repeatedly, in the GTA in Southern Ontario, maybe a little bit parts of Vancouver, Lower Mainland, people have stopped building. Like, new condo sales offices open and close. Nothing happened. Okay, there's going to be no more building for the foreseeable future. So, if that's true, if the investors are getting touched up on their investments, are really backing off, like the only people who might be considering buying are people who are actually going to live in the properties. Well, are those people, like, let's think about that. It's a big deal in BC and Ontario. The elimination of the investor class of real estate buyer is huge. It's huge. So, are people who are only going to live in the properties they buy, investors are gone. If people who just are buying to live in it, how many of those people can easily afford high prices? How many of these people are interested in tiny condos? Hey, let's just be clear on this. I don't actually know. I can't perfectly predict this future. But the end of the investors buying properties in these two provinces, the end of that phenomenon, it's huge. And I have reason to believe it's coming.